in terms of absolutes, it was a big success for us. Second round of the playoffs, and we probably gave West Stokes one of their better games, at least to that point. They had a few close ones down as they made their state championship run, but. So from that standpoint, it was more than we could have hoped for. But when you have success, you look back and see missed opportunities, and there certainly were some games that got away from us, including the West Stokes game that maybe we could have had different outcomes. And I think we learned a lot about who we are offensively, especially about some of our young players. I think we also learned defensively that we've got some challenges, and one of the things we've really focused on is getting our bodies ready to play football. And we've always been undersized on defense, and we've got to figure out a way to make that work. And as we look back at last year, one of the things we found was that in many cases our defensive players were in the right position, or our offensive players were in the right position, but we failed to finish plays. And whether that's failed to finish blocks or failed to finish making tackles, we realized that critical component needed to be addressed. And so we've spent a ton of time doing that. Kurt Miller, our defensive coordinator, has done an outstanding job getting the kids' mindsets kind of prepared for improving the way that they perform, specifically getting off blocks and tackling. And you can't tackle in the off season, but there's a lot of things we can do with body control to improve and put ourselves in a position to make tackles. I anticipate our defense being much improved over last year. It's going to be up to the offense to kind of continue that, and so we'll see. We should be in the right place all the time, as much as possible. And so then it's just going to be a matter of making plays. And I think we've got the guys that can do that. And then one of the other pieces is, and I know that you and Coach Stein talked a little bit about this. We tried to be a single platoon team as much as we could. We tried to really say, hey, let's specialize and try to focus on having offensive players and defensive players. And what we've realized is that while we continue to try to do that, there are certain players that need to be on the field at critical moments. And so, a guy like Emmett Affam, he's going to be playing a whole lot more defense, especially in passing situations. Now, he might not need to be out there on 3rd and 1, but he'll be out there on 3rd and 7. And, and we need to do that with all of our best players. And that's something that we try to avoid from the standpoint of keeping them fresh, from an injury standpoint. But the reality is, we've got to let them go out there and be players. And so we've got quite a few guys that just played one way last year that will be seeing a lot of time on both sides of the ball. Well, I'll talk about some of the guys that we don't really talk about. I mean, first I'll mention the guys we always talk about. I'll just, we talk about Emmett all the time, and Ryan Kendall and Julius Stratford. Those three guys do fantastic things, and you're going to continue to see that. Offensively, Jeff Swan has been a great leader for us. He's going to be playing tight end. We're really looking to get him involved more in the pass game. He's been an excellent blocker for us, so we're looking for him to have a big year. Zach Panic has been the anchor of our line. He's started every game that he's been healthy since he was a freshman. And Zach's getting some interest from some colleges, and it's well-deserved, and he's going to be a guy to watch. Luke Fusie's a returning starter on the offensive line. We're looking for big things from Luke. He's worked hard. So offensively, those are some of the returning guys that have got experience that we'll be seeing. On the defensive side of the ball, Jalen Young is a returning starter on the defensive line. He's really athletic, and so we're looking to see if he can continue to kind of be a factor on the defensive line and really become more of a factor, frankly. Matt McGinnis has worked hard on the defensive line. And our linebacking core, Carson Elmore, he's going to be a senior. He's been a great leader for us. We're going to look to continue to see him play the leadership role on defense and kind of set the tone. A young kid named Joe Walther is going to be a sophomore. He's going to play linebacker for us. We expect some big things out of him, but he's a sophomore, so we're going to have, he's going to make some mistakes. Justin Shanahan, returner at linebacker. He's shown some really great progress athletically, and so I would expect that he's going to have a breakout year. He's only going to be a junior. Alex Norton has been a varsity player since he was a freshman, and he's a linebacker for us. And Alex has made some fantastic plays throughout his career, and we just need to have him continue to do that. So those are the linebackers in the D-line. And in the secondary, Jake Atkinson and Kirby Crutchfield are coming back as corners. They both did a really solid job for us. We're looking for them to be a little bit more playmakers this year. And at the safety position, Austin Siebert's coming back. And we're looking for him to improve as well. And obviously we need a little bit more production in terms of interceptions from our secondary. So there's a lot of guys that don't get a lot of the press, and and they're all guys that have a ton of experience. I mean, our senior class has a ridiculous amount of experience because we were so new, and it's almost not a normal situation. It's almost virtually every senior has been a starter or has played significant amounts, and so that we need to turn that into a strength this year. For us as the football program, we've got, and what we've talked about with kids is we've got to take the next step. And whether that's a state championship, whether that's third round of the playoffs, however you want to choose to measure that, it needs to be, we need to progress. We need to move past where we were last year. So that's the thing. But the success that we have, I mean, as you walk out of my room, you'll see the girls' state championship banner with all their names on it. It creates a sense of everybody else's, okay, where's our banner going to go on that wall? And, so we got to go get it, though.